Good morning, my friends. Today is day 20. No Kratom extracts, no 7-0, no MIT, none of that stuff. It is currently 6:07 a.m. I'm outside of the gym, and man, yesterday, although it had moments of extreme grayness and insignificance and boredom, was extremely significant. Yesterday and the day before that were just gray, extremely anhedonic, extremely gray, depressing days, where I could not seem to pull myself to handle my work stuff. Like, all I could seem to do was sit in front of my UV light and throw on like anti-anxiety waves and just sit there and close my eyes and breathe. But I think by doing that, I did get some work done. But I think by meditating, man, I meditated yesterday and breathed deeply for longer than I've ever done before. And it was triggering flashbacks, emotional flashbacks of like this one time, like just scenes from my life, you know? Scenes from my life that I had like that were completely tucked away in the back of the filing cabinet. And it was very interesting. And it was calming in a way that opiates are calming, but like on another level. In a way that drugs calm you, but just like on another like peaceful level. And I've heard people who meditate, they talk about that. Like, you know, there is this group of people who believe that like taking acid and taking drugs brings you closer, opens your third eye to the universe and brings you closer to God or whatever. But I don't think so. I think that clouds your vision. And because I was uncomfortable yesterday, most of the day I was uncomfortable and miserable. And I truly believe that where the gold in ourselves, inside of ourselves, that's where the gold is found, inside of ourselves. Not out in the material world where everything is a neon sign, everything is designed to hit your brain like a cigarette. Social media is a digital cigarette. Just caffeine, all this stuff, fast food. In the mental and emotional, in the inner world, that is where all the answers are found. And it's scary. It's like 100% just like all of those like old myths and stories where the hero needs to go into the dark cave, with nothing but a rusty sword. It feels like that, the days feel like that, having to confront just kind of, I don't know, this whole experience has been very, it just feels very important right now, very impactful. And I'm also just going to say briefly that I am practicing semen retention as well. And I've gotten over the hump of like the restlessness for right now, where I feel like semen retention brings men closer to their purpose. I think it brings them closer to God and the universe. And so that's maybe why I'm talking a little bit more like mythically or philosophically. But man, everything is significant. And like, even quitting right now, like kicking all of these habits. I feel like quitting is not a bad word to use, because I don't feel like when you quit something, it has a negative association. But like, what's a better phrase to use? Freeing myself, breaking the chains of my addictions during winter is so significant. And I you know, when I first started, I was like, man, I wish I was doing this during the summertime. I would have more energy to go on runs and all that. But the winter solstice, Christmas, the new year, these things are all significant. We don't think about them because we go, you know, every year they happen. But there's a reason we have these traditions, and they go far, 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 far back into ancient times. And the winter solstice, man, I believe, I don't know, that I feel like I have quit before. I have faced myself. I've gone into that dark cave before in this same time of year, like last year and the year before that. And it's like always December 21st is the darkest day of the year. That is a time where you need to, where I am going to go in that cave. Well, I'm doing it right now. It is the darkest day of the year. That is a time for shadow work, confronting yourself, going in that dark cave. And yeah, just being gentle and real with yourself and honest with yourself. That's what I've realized too. Like, honesty is the only way, man. Honesty and truthfulness. But the significance of quitting during the winter time, when the wheel is turning and the seasons are changing and everything dies in the winter time to be reborn in the spring. And so shedding, I feel, and I had this crazy like prophetic dream last night, where like I've been driving the company car for years since I moved to this area. I've been using, you know, Kratom and all that stuff for years, since I moved to this area. There's a lot of things that have given me comfort and security that I believe have actually just really enabled me as a man. And I'm kind of coming to terms with that, just realizing that. And I watched The Green Knight last night, which, if you're a guy, it is a Christian story, like blended with like paganism, which I know if you're a Christian, pagan gives like a bad connotation, but the pagans just worshipped nature. That's all it is. So like, it's a Christian, it has Christian values and virtues and messages, but like just a pagan aesthetic and vibe. So good, man. It is basically about a knight who is not a knight at all, and he just tries to take credit. He's a drunk, he's in the brothel all the time, and on Christmas he's challenged to like take part in this game. And the movie's a little bit different from the story, but the whole story is about basically a man who makes mistakes, a knight who makes mistakes. But at the very end of the story, he has to confront all of his mistakes. In the beginning of the story, the Green Knight shows up and he says, you know, if you can land a blow on me, and in 1 year's time I will come, you must meet me at my chapel, and I will land the same exact blow on you. And in his eagerness to show off, in his eagerness to show that he's a real knight, and he doesn't show gentleness, he doesn't show kindness, the Green Knight, he just chops his head off, and the Green Knight just lets him. And so the Green Knight picks his head up and he laughs, and he, you know, rides away on his horse. And in a year's time, our guy has to atone for that. He has to face that. And there are so many lessons in that story, and in that movie. The movie's a good starting point, but I definitely recommend looking into the story. There's so many lessons of like a man who falters constantly and makes the wrong decisions, but at the very end, the Green Knight in the movie can probably be looked as like someone evil or like satanic or whatever, but I see him as like an angel of judgment or something like that, where it's like at the very end, all Sir Gawain needs to do is kneel before the Lord, kneel before judgment, and bow his head and accept the same blow that he dealt. That he just needs to accept that. And then at the very end of the story, the knight, basically the Green Knight, like the monster dude, the angel of judgment, says, you know, off with your head, like jokingly, like you atoned, you passed the test. And that's all you need to do, is just be truthful and honest with yourself and not run away. And I highly recommend watching that movie, man. It has got me thinking very deeply today. And then I had this dream where there was this white Subaru, and it was kind of beat up, but I was happy. Like in the dream, I was like, this is my white Subaru. And I don't know, something about it being white is like a fresh, a white board, a fresh slate, a clean slate, a fresh start. And it was dented up. And dents, I think, they're symbolic of like, I don't know. I was so happy to receive it. And those dents didn't even bother me because it was mine. And I don't know, this dream was so wild. I was looking at myself playing guitar and talking to my girlfriend, and it wasn't me, but like it was someone else wearing my face, like seducing my girlfriend. And I was like, who the hell does this guy think he is, using my eyes and my voice to seduce my girlfriend? And like, I just feel like that was something symbolic too. Dreams are how your brain works out emotional issues, emotional, deep subconscious issues. Because, if you get into a crazy traumatic thing, if something happens to you, and trauma can be anything, work stress, a car accident, death in the family, going through recovery, you can't process that right there in the moment. It takes time. And so when you're asleep, your brain shuts off all your logic centers, and it's all your emotional sensors online, and it's sorting out all of the trauma and the bullshit. But yeah, that dream was just so prophetic, and I don't know, man. I feel stronger today. Yesterday I tried to make videos, and they were just me complaining. There wasn't any like gold advice I could give because I just felt so miserable yesterday. And if it's another gray day today, then so be it. I will get through it. But I mean, the Green Knight, the story of the Green Knight, redemption, the winter solstice, Yuletide was when in like Norse mythology, like the Vikings, they believed that like the world of the gods and the universe, like that was beyond us, and our world during Christmas, December, wintertime, those two worlds are extremely close together. And that's why people make people make New Year's resolutions during the winter. It's like, it's that time when the planets are like passing each other in a way. And so winter may seem like, it seems to me like a terrible time to start, but it is actually the best time, because that's when everything is supposed to die. That's when you're supposed to shed your leaves, is the winter. And you don't get to enjoy the fruits of your labor, the fruits of your suffering and hard work, until the spring comes, until the summer is here. So, very interesting. I gotta say, man, I am just inspired today, and I still feel like weird. I get it's day 20. I still feel very weird, but the semen retention has gotten me, is helping a lot. It is supercharging me. I feel more connected with God and the universe, and I want to just be open to receiving what God has planned for me, you know. And my receiver, you know, to tune into the frequency of God and the universe is not going to be open if I'm numbing it with all of these drugs, if I'm numbing it, if I'm glued to my phone for hours. Like, that's what I realized yesterday meditating, like, and having all those flashback emotional memories, that all of the healing, all of the truth, all of the comfort you need is right, it's inside you. And it's uncomfortable to pull it out, but once you do, it is better than a warm blanket. It feels, and I can't say I completely understand, but like Buddhists and monks and priests that pray, you know, in a chapel for months, like yesterday, like drugs give you that warm blanket feeling, because they're like the failed attempt. They're like the human's attempt to get closer to God. Like, it's like a shitty, generic, cheap version to get closer to God. Like, you know, you take drugs and you feel like, oh, I'm so at peace and warm and all this stuff. But yesterday, that it wasn't a warm blanket. I felt like, you know, people talk about like a hand on your shoulder, a comforting hand on your shoulder, or I don't know, man. It was something. But so I'm definitely going to be working more meditation into my routine, and I am just gonna face everything uncomfortably. I mean, this whole like green knight thing has got me stoked too. Like, I want to be the knight that redeems himself, and I believe that all of us have a redemption story inside of us. All of our lives, you know, we're telling a story. And sometimes those stories need conflict. Stories need an antagonist. They need a villain to be interesting. Because then, if stories didn't have conflict and a villain and antagonist, the hero would have nothing to fight for or fight against, nothing to make him grow, him or her grow. So, like, you need conflict. It is the balance of winter and summer. You know, it is that balance. And I feel connected with that balance today. I don't know quite why, but I am burning up my morning energy. I definitely got to go lift some weights because it feels so good now again. And again, I'm going to keep saying it, man. If you're quitting addictions, you know, kratom, weed, opiates, whatever it may be, your sex drive is going to come back full swing. I highly recommend looking into semen retention, because it is, I jumped out of bed this morning at a normal hour at 5 a.m. I jumped out of bed feeling good. And I've also noticed that, like, the Zins and the cigarettes and all that stuff, it's just not hitting anymore. It's actually like I'm so much more. I feel like taking drugs, you hide inside yourself. So like when you're taking 7-0, when you're taking any sort of substance or like porn, master, whatever it may be, something that's like numbing you out, you're hiding inside of yourself. Or you're hiding from yourself, I guess. You're hiding from your problems. But when you are practicing semen retention, when you are on a sober, when you're on a sober journey, when you're, in recovery, you have to live inside yourself again. You have to face all those uncomfortable feelings. But the gold is found after you get through that. Just like in the hero's stories, the hero comes home after he's changed, and he can't change by just sitting at home like in the Shire or in the castle and nothing bad ever happens to him. He doesn't have to test himself, like you have to test your mettle to see what you're made of. And what I've learned is that you will always surprise yourself, and you will always be much stronger than you think that you are. You just need to, all you have to do is just hold on for that next 2 minutes, that next 5 minutes, or, be patient for that next, all you have to do is put one foot in front of the other. That's all the hero has to do in these stories when he's on his quest. He just has to get out of the Shire and start walking. And then things will come at you and you will deal with them as they go, as they come. So, man, we are all on a journey. We are all children of God. And remember that too. You are a child of God. A child of God. You know who else was a child of a god in Greek mythology? Hercules. Who else in Norse mythology? What's his name? Thor. These are all children of gods. And you and I are children of Christ. So we have so much power through God's love, through God's love is like a guiding light, and it shines, just like light does. It shows you all of the ugly parts of yourself, but not so that you could feel shame, but I think so you can begin to accept these things and change them if you want to, or I don't know. That's the thing. I'm a man. I'm still just a man figuring things out. But I will tell you today that I feel in tune with the universe, in tune with Christ's love and God. And this winter, for me and for you, for all of us, has extreme significance to our stories. And I urge you, what do they do with knights? How do they ask them to go on quests? There's a certain word that they use. Hark, adventurers, or something like that. Basically, I urge you guys to not waste this winter, this time of suffering and reflection and your hero's journey. Because I have wasted it. That's the thing. Time is a circle. There are so many cycles and patterns. I have been offered this opportunity so many times to change and to face myself for years and years and years and years. And it has taken me this long to realize the patterns and all of the bear traps that I fall in and that I make for myself. But I can see that this is a test. Just like God you know, tests all of his believers in the Bible, just like Sir Gawain is tested in the Green Knight, just like, you know, a hero, a hero must be tested. How can they be a hero if they're not tested? You can't just call yourself a hero. You can't just call yourself, you know, the god of thunder or Hercules or whatever without completing your 12 labors. You must be tested. And this winter, this is our test. God is with you. Do not waste this time. It's going to be different for all of us. I encourage you to do some like deep breathing meditation. Put on some like delta waves, anti-anxiety waves. Close your eyes, do some guided meditation. And because it's just like Stranger Things, where Eleven is in that dark, walking in that dark place. That's how I was kind of imagining it. And I was like, I would see like visions of myself as a kid, and just like, I don't know. I encourage you to meditate deeply and for a long time and go to that place. And do not judge yourself. Do not just go there and see what the deep corners of your mind has to offer. Because it will show you symbols. And that's all you need is a few symbols to dig around deep in your head, and some symbols, and that will get you started. But yeah, I'm rambling now. I'm just I'm feeling in tune. So thank you guys so much. God bless each and every one of you. Yeah, we're gonna get through this winter. Feeling good. Thank you guys.